Hi everyone. I'm Cassandra, not my real name, of course. I'm in my late 20s as I write this. In another life, I was a flight attendant, working for a major airline. A single woman, married to my job and without children. I'm sure you've all had your fair share of strange tales on the internet, but, believe me, nothing quite like what I'm about to share with you. A while back, I had a horrifying experience on a routine international flight, after which my life has never been the same. This is my first time posting on this chat board. I'm sharing this story under an alias on an internet discussion forum because if I were to come out publicly with it, there would be dire consequences for me. In my former line of work, everybody secretly knows about the fake ones, as they are playfully called within that professional circle, to refer to people who are not people, although they look and behave like real people. Well, almost like real people. You see, my past coworkers and I underwent mandatory specialized and confidential training on how to handle a certain very peculiar category of air passengers. During that training, we were only given very limited information though, just enough to prepare us to perform our duties without any emotional response when encountering these special passengers aboard flights we worked on. We were taught that these peculiar passengers are a different kind of human beings, who mimic ordinary people. They look uncannily similar to humans, but may exhibit unusual behaviors on occasions. For instance, they might stare blankly into space, rarely eat or drink, or turn their heads in unnatural ways. Most disturbingly, they often resemble realistic live mannequins or wax statues, and sometimes make bizarre requests that we'd be obliged to fulfill without questioning. We were told these beings can be either female-looking or male-looking, usually adults in their 20s or 30s. More often than not, they wear business attire, but they've been observed dressing casually too, on numerous instances. We were also cautioned that, every now and then, regular passengers might sense something amiss when seated near these entities, potentially leading to panic. In such cases, flight attendants must be ready to respond calmly, reassuring affected passengers and treating their concerns with feigned understanding, even if it involves causing them to doubt their own sanity. In essence, we were tasked with subtly persuading ordinary individuals to question their own perceptions and view themselves as paranoid schizophrenics. As mentioned, we weren't provided with any detailed information regarding the nature or purpose of these beings, nor were we informed about why they travel on passenger planes. We were required to sign a non-disclosure agreement, preventing us from disclosing any information learned during training about these special passengers. Moreover, we were strictly forbidden from sharing details about any interactions we might have with them. The consequences for violating these directives were severe, including the possibility of secret criminal trials and imprisonment in covert internment camps. It was indeed a frightening prospect. So, one day, several months after finishing the confidential training, I was serving on a long-haul international flight, when one of my colleagues whispered to me that seat 17F was occupied by one of those special passengers, a 20-something male-looking individual dressed in jeans, a hoodie, and sneakers. My colleague remarked that this particular passenger looked so not real that it was ridiculous, and his non-human nature appeared even more obvious up close. I distinctly remember feeling so nervous about it. That was going to be my first direct experience with one of those enigmatic entities. As I passed by row 17, serving meals, I was overwhelmed with a feeling of unease. Upon closer inspection, the guy's appearance was so surreal that it sent shivers down my spine. The plastic-like skin on his face and hands, something odd about his eyes, the artificial-looking hairline, and his overall freakish aura unsettled me profoundly. I continued serving meals. Then I went to the toilet located in the tail section to wash my face, and as I came out of the toilet, I felt slightly disoriented, just for a moment. Stress, I thought, and went about my business. A couple hours went by. We were mid-flight already. I was now in the galley, making coffee. Suddenly, there was a loud scream in the back of the plane. A lady in her 30s sitting next to the special passenger had started noticing that something was seriously and disturbingly off about the man sitting next to her. She'd gotten agitated, and soon her agitation had turned into sheer panic and fear. Things took a turn for the worse, when the lady jumped off her seat and began hurrying towards the flight deck, repeatedly claiming the guy sitting next to her was not a real person, and screaming her intention to inform the pilots about that strange passenger. Recalling my training, I concealed my empathy for the distressed lady as I intervened to reassure her. Despite feeling guilty about deceiving her, I did my utmost to gently calm her down. She was in a state of extreme panic, visibly shocked and frightened, crying loudly and hysterically. She demanded that the pilots land the plane immediately at the nearest airport and let her disembark, insisting that the man next to her was not a real human, though she didn't explain why she felt that way. In the end, an air marshal, with assistance from a steward, had to restrain her. She was then sedated and relocated to the back of the plane, where the marshal remained seated next to her. Throughout the ordeal, the special passenger remained eerily unaffected, while the other passengers reacted with a mix of emotions. Some laughed and mocked the distressed woman, while others were appalled by the violence used against her. Some simply filmed the events with their phones. Strangely, none of the passengers paused to ponder or inquire about the specific man who had frightened the woman, nor did they capture images or videos of him. Their phones were only pointed at the agitated woman. We proceeded to reassure the passengers that everything was back to normal and that the distressed woman was being attended to. The flight arrived at its destination on schedule, without any further incidents. The sedated woman was escorted off the plane by police, paramedics, and unidentified individuals in plain clothes, while the peculiar man disembarked along with the other passengers and blended into the airport crowd. After the last passenger disembarked, we quickly conducted a cabin check, ensured overhead bins were secure, and exited through the main door, acknowledging the ground crew as we stepped onto the jet bridge. In the bustling terminal, amidst the flurry of airport activity, we shared a silent moment of accomplishment before making our way to the crew lounge. None of us dared to speak or even allude to the unsettling incident that had occurred during the flight. It was an unspoken understanding among us. Arriving at my hotel room later that evening, I still felt shaken and couldn't shake off the lingering sense of dread. Exhausted, I went straight to bed. I woke up abruptly in the middle of the night, drenched in sweat and trembling with panic, breathing very quickly, my heart pounding like a hammer in my chest. It felt as if I'd just had a terrible nightmare which I couldn't recollect. I sat up in bed, trying to catch my breath and rationalize what was happening to me. Eventually, I managed to calm down and get up to drink a glass of water. I then took a shower, hoping to ease my nerves. Unable to sleep, I decided to unwind on the small balcony of my hotel room, armed with a comforting cup of tea and a good book. But an hour later, as I watched the sunrise beginning to paint the horizon, a rush of memories flooded my mind like a tsunami. I was horrified by what I had just recalled, a close encounter I'd had with the special passenger on the flight, which had occurred prior to the incident with the distressed lady. In the dimly lit aisle at the rear of the plane, our paths crossed. Emerging from the restroom, I unexpectedly found myself face to face with him. His gaze, cold and devoid of humanity, pierced mine with disquieting intensity, sending a chill down my back. With quiet authority, he extended his hand, offering me a small silver pill, his expression inscrutable yet oddly compelling. "Swallow this pill," he instructed, his voice clear and emotionless. Without hesitation or fear, I complied immediately, as if it were the most natural thing in the world, incapable of refusing. The pill slid down my throat, its taste imperceptible. He continued, "The plane is bound for a different world, one where you will notice subtle differences in many things. But do not be afraid. You have been chosen." He also informed me that I would not be able to recall this personal interaction with him until the time was right. He didn't offer any further explanation and returned to his seat, while I resumed my duties as if nothing out of the ordinary had occurred. That face-to-face encounter remained temporarily buried deep inside my mind. Now, on the balcony, with the first rays of sun shining into my eyes, I felt a mix of confusion and despair, my mind inundated with countless thoughts, struggling to make sense of it all. I was like, am I losing my mind? What's going on? One thing was certain, my life was no longer going to be the same. I quit my job and ended my career as a flight assistant shortly after, and moved back to my small native town in Europe. It's been several months now since that incident. I have taken a low-paying but quiet job as an English teacher in a private primary school. I feel good now. But it's taken quite a while for me to get attuned to my new life. And that's not so much because the name of my town has always been one that I don't recognize, or because people I've known since childhood have never existed, including some of my close family members. No, those sorts of oddities are of secondary concern to me. What has truly and completely turned my life around is a little girl who had never existed, but is now present in my life. Here, this child has been around for the last 8 years and a half. My young daughter Ellie. I'm in a new world now, one that feels more like home than the world I came from. In this reality, there is Ellie. And being a mother, her mother, is the very best thing that could have ever happened to me. I don't know why I was brought to this new world, or what's going on with those human lookalikes traveling on passenger airliners. I'm still in touch with my former colleagues who were aboard that fateful flight and arrived in this world with me. I've never told any of them about my reality shift experience. But I've learned that none of them has ever found anything changed or different in this plane of existence. So, I guess all of them have always belonged here in this reality. And I'm almost sure the same goes for all the other people on that flight. Except me. For some reason, that flight's only purpose was to bring me to this alternate world. I want to believe the reason is Ellie. Maybe I have been sent here to make a difference in her life. And I sure will try to be the best mother I can possibly be. I just can't help but wonder what happened to the other me, Ellie's real mother. Is she in my old reality now? But why would they transport her to a world where she no longer has a daughter? It would be such a terribly cruel thing. I often pray for her, hoping that God is helping her, somehow. Ellie hasn't noticed any differences in me, even though from time to time she brings up past events of which I have no memories, of course. She doesn't know I'm not her real mother. I'm not sure I'll ever muster the courage to tell her the truth. We're so incredibly happy together. I love her so much. Maybe some occurrences in life are not meant for us to understand or question, but just accept. At least, that's what I like to think. So, that's the whole story, more or less. You may believe it or not, or make of it what you will. I just needed to share it, get it out there, for posterity. I don't care if you think I'm crazy. Who knows, maybe I do have a few screws loose after all. But I still keep an eye out for people who are not people.